What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's video I've got a good one for you. Today we're looking at the Reebok Nano X5. And this isn't just any update. This is the 15th anniversary of the Nano, also known as the official shoe of fitness. And the Nano X5 offers a lot and has a lot of updates over the X4. Now guys, before we get started, I do just want to say that this video is in collaboration with my friends over at Roadrunner Sports. Now, Roadrunner Sports was good enough to send me this pair of the Nano X5 for the purpose of review. However, they haven't told me what to say. They don't have any editorial privileges, and all the thoughts and opinions are my own. With that said, you're going to be able to pick up a pair of the Reebok Nano X5 starting at $140. And of course, I'll place a link in the show notes below in case you want to pick up a pair for yourself. So first of all, I do just want to say that I mainly review running shoes. That is, I run mostly in my shoes. And when I go to the gym, I usually just put on another pair of running shoes. So if that's you, I encourage you to keep watching. Now, if you are a regular in the gym and you use training shoes, you already know what I'm going to say, but we should not be training in running shoes. And as soon as you put on a pair of the Nano X5, you're going to see why. Now, the Nano X5 does have a 7mm drop, which is definitely on the higher end of drops in the training shoe space, but I find it super comfortable. Now, Reebok claims that in a US men's size 9, the Nano X5 will tip the scale at 12 ounces or 340 grams, but in my size, a US men's size 12, the Nano X5 tips the scale at 14.7 ounces or 416 grams. So, as we do, let's get started at the top and work our way down, and let me hold that up so you can see that heel collar. Okay, so the main thing that we want in any pair of shoes, especially when we're in the gym, we know we're putting the work in, we want our feet to be comfortable. And Reebok is calling this heel collar their performance comfort collar. That's a mouthful. Anyway, the naming doesn't mean much, but you should know that it is comfortable. There is plenty of padding around the heel collar, and there's no sliding around. The heel counter on the Nano X5 is super rigid, which is exactly what we want. This is going to stop any heel slip when you are running in the shoe. Now, I didn't experience any heel slip in the Nano X5, but if you do, we do have this extra lace hole here on the top, and you could use that to do the lace lock method to just lock your heel in. But on its own, I found my heel did have a good lockdown. The tongue on the Nano X5 is quite padded, definitely not overly so, and we do have a double lace loop here on the front, so there's no movement of that tongue when you're training. Now, Reebok has updated the upper this year in the Nano X5, and they're now using their premium Flexweave upper. Now, this Flexweave upper is going to be super breathable and very durable. Now, there are a lot of overlays on this Flexweave upper, which is going to give this upper just a lot of structure and support. Of course, we've got those overlays coming along the eyelet chain. We have some overlays just giving support in the midfoot, and then we have this heel clip that starts about midfoot and then comes around the back to the medial side. Now, again, this is just going to give support to your heel, and it's going to prevent any lateral movement. So this is the first time I'm going to talk about lateral movement and you're having a strong base, but that is where the Nano X5 really shines. Now, to add to the solid base and to be sure that you're getting a solid platform, Reebok has introduced their dual response EVA midsole. And basically what that means is that they've tweaked the durometer of the midsole foam to make it work better for everything that you're going to use this shoe for. So ultimately there are two levels of firmness in the Nano X5. Now, on my colorway it's very easy to see because of the color, but here on the back we have this green coming into the red midsole foam. This is going to be a lot firmer, a lot more dense, and it's not going to compress as easy. That is so when you're on your heels, when you're lifting heavy weights, think squats, deadlifts, you're not going to be compressing that foam too much and having an unstable base. Now in the forefoot, they've reduced the durometer reading of the midsole foam, making it just slightly softer, and that is going to give a much more pleasant forefoot feel when you're running. So in summary, we've got firm in the back, soft in the front. Now I should say that this softer foam in the front isn't overly soft, like you're not going to be sinking into it, and it definitely doesn't contribute to any instability when you're lifting, but it really does add something when you're running. Now that's not the only thing that Reebok has added to make running in the Nano X5 just a little easier. Now obviously we've got full coverage of outsole rubber, and again on this colorway it's very easy to see, but we have this black rubber here on the front, and then the red and the green, but this line right here, this separation of pieces of the midsole, Reebok is calling this their decoupled meta-split outsole. Basically this is just going to increase flexibility right here in the forefoot, and when I bend this up, yeah, you can see that it is just bending nicely. Of course, if I try that in the heel, there's no way, it's totally rigid. But here in the front, which is where you're going to be toeing off, that's where you want that little bit of flexibility, it bends nicely and it just contributes to a nice fresh toe off. Just coming back up to the upper and the laces are lay flat. They gave me a good lockdown across the midfoot, but that's not so much the laces as this structure on the midfoot. The reinforcements on both the lateral and the medial side are just made to wrap around your foot to give you that nice locked in feel. Now, when I'm in the gym, I am usually using dumbbells, occasionally some barbells, and having the Nano X5 on my foot makes squatting, lunges, deadlifts just so much easier. And when I say easier, I mean easier than using running shoes with that soft midsole foam. Now, like a lot of tech that I use, there are a lot of features that I am never going to use, but I'm really happy to have. One of those features on the Nano X5 is on the medial side, we have this Rope Pro plate. And basically, it's a very firm piece of rubber. So when you are climbing ropes, you are not going to chew up that midsole rubber right there. It's going to give you the grip that you need to shimmy on up the rope. rope. Of course, that is something that I will never do, but I like knowing it's there in case I have to. Now, in my experience, the Nano X5 is going to work well for all your training needs. That is, all your training needs in the gym. So whether you do resistance training, HIIT training, or heavy lifting, this is going to be a gem. It's going to work perfectly for you. It's super comfortable. There is plenty of room here in the toe box, and that is a definite improvement over last year's X4. However, what I do have to caution you on is that the Nano X5 is not made for long distance running. So this is not a running shoe. It's a shoe that you can run in. So if you go to the gym and let's say you get on the treadmill maybe for a mile or a couple miles to warm up before your session, that is what it's ideal for. If you're running some short sprints during say a HIIT session, again, the Nano X5 is going to be perfect for that. This would not be my choice to go out on a road run, but if I'm in the gym and I'm just running on the treadmill, then yeah, the Nano X5 is super comfortable for those shorter runs. Now there are a lot of times when I'm in the gym and I'm doing weights and then I either get on the elliptical or I get on a bike. Obviously the Nano X5 is going to be good for that, but really any shoe would be good for that. That doesn't really take advantage of everything that the Nano X5 has to offer. But if you're in the gym, if you are lifting weights, if you're doing a lot of lateral movements, especially if you ever climb ropes because of the Rope Pro, the Nano X5 is definitely a shoe to take a look at. Now, also, I'm not someone that lifts really heavy weights, but just because of that 7mm drop, I tend to think that it may not be ideal for those of you that are lifting just really heavy weights. But if you do lift heavy weights and your shoes have a fairly high drop, I'd love to hear from you. So in a nutshell, the new Reebok Nano X5 is for cross trainers, gym rats, functional fitness enthusiasts, not necessarily for runners or super heavy weight trainers. But I tell you what, it works for everyone. And I think anyone that spends a lot of time in the gym is really going to benefit from a shoe like the Nano X5. So now I want to hear from you. This is the 15th iteration of the Nano. Have you ever worked out in the Nano? If not, what's your fitness shoe of choice? Drop a comment and let me know. And with that, it's Matt B. This has been my review of Reebok's Nano X5. Be kind, be happy, run well. I'll see you in a couple of days.